everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous Friday. I hope you have a fabulous 3-day weekend, and I cannot wait to see you all on Tuesday. So yesterday we learned about how to find the circumference of a circle, and so as a refresher, to find the circumference of any circle, you take the diameter, which goes completely across the middle of the circle, and you multiply it by pi, or 3.14. So today our learning targets are, if I know the radius, diameter, or circumference of a circle, I can find the other two. And I can solve real-world problems involving circumference. So we're going to take that circumference formula, we're going to apply it to a little more complex and difficult circumference problems. So let's go ahead. We're going to look at our warm-up. So I've given you three different objects that are circular, and there's a measuring tape on every circle. The measuring tape is showing the different parts of our circle. All we need to do is label which part is which. So you're going to tell me the wagon wheel, is this the diameter, radius, or circumference? For the propeller, is this the diameter, radius, or circumference? And last, the sliced orange peel. Again, is this the diameter, radius, or circumference? Go ahead, pause here. Come back once you're ready. Okay, so for the wagon wheel, the tape measure goes from the outside of the circle to the outside of the circle. So completely going across our circle is going to be the diameter. For the plane propeller, it's only going through half of the circle, from the center to the outside. And that would be our radius. Last, the orange, it goes completely around the outside, and that is going to be the circumference. Go ahead, get these answers down if you don't have them down already, and let's move on once you're ready. Okay, so now I have those same three objects and those measurements that are shown on the last slide put in this table, and we are going to find the other two measurements for each circle. So let's go ahead and review how to do this. So if we know our radius and we're trying to find our diameter, we can take our radius and simply multiply it by 2. If we know our diameter and we're trying to find our radius, we could take our diameter and divide it by 2, and that'll give us our radius. Last, if we know our diameter and we're trying to find our circumference, we would multiply by pi, which remember we're using 3.14. And if we know our circumference and we're trying to find the diameter, we would do the opposite again and divide by 3.14. All right, go ahead. Okay, my bad. So go ahead, pause here, try this problem, fill out the entire table, and come back once you're ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get some answers down, shall we? So if we have our diameter, we're trying to find the radius of the wagon wheel. We're going to follow this arrow and divide by 2. So 3 divided by 2 is going to be 1.5. Now if we have our diameter and we're trying to find our circumference, we take our diameter and we multiply it by pi. So we would get 9.42. If we know our radius and we're trying to find our diameter, we would multiply by 2. So 24 times 2 is 48. And then for our circumference, we take our diameter and multiply it by pi. We get 150.72. And the last row. If we know our circumference and we're trying to find our diameter, we take our circumference and this time we're dividing by 3.14. And I'm going to round this to 6.4. We're going to round that to 6.4. Now to go from the diameter to radius, we're going to take that 6.4 and divide it by 2. And we get 3.2. All right, go ahead and get that down. And let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. So there's a bug sitting on the tip of a wind turbine blade that was 24 inches long, and it started to rotate, so it started to go around in a circle. The bug held on for 5 full rotations, so 5 times around the circle, before flying away. How far did the bug travel before it flew off? So we have this little applet that actually shows the little bug. It's kind of cute. So you can use this. You can set the number of revolutions to 5. And then your blade length should be fine. So now you can use the turn and see it going around in a circle. You can check your answer here by typing it in. If it's right, it'll tell you you got it right, you rock, or something like that. And if you get it wrong, it'll tell you, it will tell you, because it has a question mark. Oh, it's too low, or a bunch of zeros. It's too high. So this will help you if you're wanting to check your answer before checking the video. So go ahead. I want you to tell me, what is the radius of this circle? What is the diameter of that circle? Find the circumference, and then find the total distance the bug held on for. Okay, go ahead, pause here, try this slide, and come back once you're ready. Okay, so the radius of this circle, the radius goes from the center to the outside, so that's going to be the blade length. So the blade length is 24 inches, so that is what our radius is. To find our diameter, we take the radius and multiply it by 2. And that's going to give me 48 inches. For the circumference, we take the diameter and we multiply it by pi. And that's going to give us 150.72. Oh, goodness. So that's just going to be one time around our circle. That is not going to be all 5 times. So to find the total distance that the bug held on for, we take the circumference, which would be 1 rotation, and multiply it by the number of rotations that we are going. And so that in this case, it's going to be 5. So we're going to take 150.72 and then multiply it by 5. That is 753.6. If you would like to check your answer, you can just type it in. Yeah. Oh, goodness. And when you get that, it says, yay, you got it right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide once you have all this down. And now we're talking about pizza. So a medium pizza has a diameter of 12 inches If Kayla ate the pieces that are missing, what is the total length of crust left? So the crust is the outside part. What is the circumference that's left over? Go ahead, try this, and come back once you're ready. All right. So it tells us that the pizza has a diameter of 12, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in for the diameter. The radius is always half of the diameter, so we're going to divide it by 2, and that's going to give us 6. For the circumference of the entire pizza without the missing part, we take 12 and multiply it by 3.14. That's going to give us 37.68. So now it wants us to say in a fraction how much of this pizza is missing. So this is going to be 1/4 of the pizza is missing. So to find our missing amount, we could multiply by 1/4, but multiplying by 1/4 is also the same as dividing by 4. So we are going to take our total circumference and divide it by 4, and that is going to give us 0.68 divided by 4, 9.42. So now it wants us to know how much is left over. Well, we know our total, we know our missing. We're going to take our total and then subtract what is missing. And that's going to be 28.26. All right, go ahead, make sure we get all of this down. And let's move on. Okay, so now we have a tractor tire. It has a radius of 21 inches. The tire completes 50 rotations traveling along the length of the farmer's field. And so it wants to know what is the length of the field. How far did that tractor travel, basically? So you're going to tell me the radius of the tire, the diameter of the tire, the circumference, and then the total distance traveled. Go ahead, pause here, and come back when you're ready. All right, so it tells us that our radius is 21 inches. To find the diameter, we take our radius and we multiply it by 2. That's going to give us 42 inches. So now that we have our diameter, we're able to find our circumference by taking our diameter and multiplying it by pi. And that's going to be 131.88. And now it wants to know the total distance traveled if we go 50 total circles. So we're going to do 131.88 and then multiply by 50. And that's going to be 6,594. 954, right? Oh, 594. All right, get that down. Just 2 more slides. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, threads on a screw. So a screw has a diameter of 31 millimeters. The thread wraps around the screw 20 times. What is the total length of the threads on the screw? So we're going to pretend like they're perfect circles going around the screw. I know they're not. There's a lot more that goes into like the length of the thread on a screw, but we're going to pretend like they're perfect circles, and it's just what we have been doing on this one, but with new numbers. So go ahead, try this, and come back once you're ready. Okay, so it tells us that the diameter is 3.1, millimeters is mm. The radius is going to be half of that length, so we do 3.1 divided by 2, and that's going to be 1.55. For your circumference, you're going to take your diameter and multiply it by pi. And that's going to be 9.734. So now our thread wraps around 20 times. So basically we have 20 circumferences. So I'm going to multiply that one circumference by 20. And I'm going to get 194.68. Okay. All right, get all this down. We're so close. One more slide. And let's go ahead and move on. Perimeter of a field. So we have a drawing of a middle school football field. What is the perimeter of the field? So what is the outside length? If you notice, I can cut these semicircular ends off, and we would have a rectangle on the inside, and then these two semicircles together would make a full circle. So go ahead, I want you to try this and come back once you're ready. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to specifically look at the outer circles, and so I'm going to label them the curve. And so to find the perimeter of that curve, we're going to find the circumference of these circles. So this length right here, that is our diameter. So we're going to do 48 times 3.14 to find our circumference. And that's going to be 150.72. Now we need to look at the straightaways. The straightaways both have a length of 110. So if we add those together, it would be 220. And now we want the total perimeter, and we're going to find that by adding the length of the curve and the length of our straightaways. Oh my goodness. Shift. There we go. And that is going to be 370.72. All right, go ahead, get this down. And then go ahead and ask the sub for your half sheet. That includes your synthesis that has the formula for the circumference and a real world example. And then once you have that glued in your notebook, go ahead and do the cool down for today. All right, I hope you guys have a fabulous rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you. Bye-bye.